Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. I'm Lynn with PlasmaEnergySolution.com. We've got a lot of information for you on our website. We always have monthly specials on our homepage, so I hope you'll take the opportunity to go over there and see what we have. We've got some great information for you on the free reports section. All you do is click on that and scroll down and see what you want to read of the free reports, and put in your first name and an email address, and it unlocks the PDF that you can download. All right, well today, what do we mean by healthy before 50 and healthy after 50? Well, one of the things that has been reiterated over and over by Sabrina Wallace on the Synergy channel is that our biofield, our energy field, is where 80% of our immune system is managed. How about that? So what happens if your energy field is being accessed by someone with a remote that has your DNA, that is the signature the remote is looking for? How would they have that? Well, there's been all kinds of things going on for many, many years with putting biosensors in our bodies. Now, were they quote unquote put in our bodies, or was a mechanism put in our bodies so that these are generated by our own bodies? Well, I invite you to look at the information in books 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 at the bottom of my free reports. That's why I brought them up. And book 5 is a PDF with all the technical information anybody could ever want on what is being talked about with the biofield, the energy field, your immune system, and with biofield practice. Now, biofield practice is being shown, it's been shown over and over and over by Sabrina on the Synergy channel on Odyssey. And what that is utilizing your body energy and intention. And piloerection is when your body hair stands straight up, like on your arms. We call it goosebumps, okay? And you've seen that reaction in a cat or a dog that's upset, and they get all fluffed up, and their tails get fluffed up, and they're in a protection mode, okay? So what happens when we're asleep and we're not fully engaged in our overall protection? Well, sometimes my brain wakes me up, and then my body says go back to sleep, and my brain says we gotta go over this. So today was one of those days. So if I look a little bit tired, it's because my brain wouldn't be quiet, and my body lost out on that round. Okay, so here's my insight that my brain woke me up to talk to me about, right? Masaru Emoto talked about the messages in water, and he talked about intention, because what he was doing was placing an intention on jars of water, such as love, joy, peace, and he also did hate. And he did quite a few, and there's interesting YouTubes on it. There's books on the photographs that he did. But what he did was take some of the water the following morning after the intention had been placed on it all night, and he froze some of the water, and then looked at the frozen water on slides under a high-powered microscope. And what he found was the positive intentions look like snowflakes, the negative intentions look like black blobs. So intention is really, really important. And Dr. Paul always talked about that. I've talked about it a lot. We use intention in making our plasma energy formulas. So let's look at intention here. Water carries intention. Water carries memory. Now, Dr. B, and it's a long name, Batmanglij, okay, was an Iranian doctor who did research on water as a method for reversing ailments of all kinds. And his initial introduction to that was when he was a political prisoner, and he was the only doctor in the prison, and over a 2-year period he helped over 3,000 people get over their symptoms and things that may have been plaguing them for a long time by drinking water. All right, so now with our plasma energy water combinations, you're getting a lot of bang for your bucks, because you're not only getting the water, but you're getting additional energies that are in our plasma energy water combinations. So where am I going to go with this? Water carries intention, and water carries memory. All right? Our bodies are full of plasma energy water if we're drinking water. And what Dr. B said is our brains are 85% water. Our bodies are 75% water. That is a really good tool for us to utilize when we really think about it and approach it with intention. Now, I mentioned the biosensors and the biofield. Now, what are those biosensors in our biofield in our bodies? Why are they there? All right, they're there for others to manipulate our bodies. And they can do that with remote controls. They can do it with drones. I know this all sounds like a little bit of science fiction. Sadly, it isn't. Sadly, it's real. So here's what I decided to do about that. If I'm awake and aware of what's going on around me, then I can utilize the biofield practice. And the biofield practice engages your breathing and your energy of block, shock, shield, and shunt. Now, you're going to block incoming energies, you're going to shock at them, you're going to shield yourself, and you're going to shunt those energies away from you. All right, but what happens when you're asleep? You know, you got to get a little bit of rest, even if your brain doesn't wake you up early and start telling you to pay attention. All right, so here's an intention I came up with. Every molecule and every aspect of water in my body carries the memory and intention of biofield protection. Block, shock, shield, and shunt. So every molecule and aspect of water in my body is now its own biofield protector. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 plus a few hours a year. Each and every molecule, aspect of water, blocks, shocks, shields, and shunts any and all attempts of radiation, radio frequencies, and or all remoted frequencies and energies that attempt to overtake my body, and all of those incoming radiation, radio frequencies, remoted energies are returned to their source. I want you to think about that. That is acting like a mirror. So what came in trying to take over something in your body got sent back, and your body got shielded. Now, I may have said the block, shock. I think I said block, shock, shield, and shunt, and it may be block, shock, shunt, and shield, but you get the idea, all right? And yeah, that's what woke me up this morning. So I want you to think about this. We've got all these towers up there. There's a lot of talk about what's the 5G doing. Is there more than 5G coming at us? There's all these electronic frequencies. But what is also described in technical documents and in a college textbook, the IEEE of electricity and electronics, is that we are human antennas. Human beings are the best electrical antennas out there. So why would anybody care? Because you've heard the phrase, the Internet of Things. We are the things. We are the Internet. Companies are using us for their data routing and their data management. Now, how do I know this? Well, in 2021, Amazon was granted permission to route data transmission through people's bodies. Oh, well, how'd they have access to that? There are libraries and libraries and libraries storing our information in them. So maybe they go into one library that says a certain area where they're doing a lot of deliveries. Well, if you have a group of people together, then they can do what's called K-hop routing, and they can jump from Lynn to Mary to Todd to Tim to George to Grace, and just route their things through all these human electrical transmitters. Now, Dr. Botmanjilij said, we are hydroelectric plants. So this isn't just coming from Sabrina. This is coming from a doctor who has researched water for many, many years. And his whole approach to his research was that there is no etiology to disease. When you get in, well, we know this is caused by something or other. Well, it could be this or it could be that or whatever. But the solution in the mainstream is always something chemically compounded or maybe surgically done. Now, what his research showed him is that people are having health issues are in a state of dehydration. And that state of dehydration is causing what appear to be symptoms of illnesses. There was somebody that he describes in one of his books, and you can get several of his books. They're still online, even though he passed in 2004. But those books, in one of them, he's talking about a young man who had peptic ulcer, and it was so bad that he would often just vomit before he could even, get to a containment place, and, was just in a constant state of anxiety over this, trying to stay ahead of the condition. And so he came, this was in prison, he came to Dr. B and said, what can I do for this? Well, they don't hand out medication in prison, especially if you're a doctor who's a prisoner. And so he said, drink water. And he had him drink a glass of water. And he had him drink another glass of water a few minutes later. And then a little while later, he had him drink another glass of water. This is what he did with many people who did have peptic ulcers because they were in a high stress condition in the prison, and they were probably not eating the best quality food. Now I want you to think about this, because we're really fixated on pure water and this and that. This is tap water out of a prison that was used to turn around conditions for 3,000 people. So this is pretty important information to realize. And then to take it a step further and realize that the intention that you can set with your body, with every molecule or every aspect of water in your body, you can give it that message that I read to you, that it's a protective device for your body, and it's a repelling device for incoming energies. And in my case, my intention is, it goes back to source. Let them enjoy what they wanted to do to whomever they directed that energy at. Now, when I say remoted, what do I mean by that? People can purchase remote controls, and then they can purchase, in certain conditions, of course. And as George Carlin says, you're not a member of the club, so you probably can't purchase it. But if they're a member of the club, they probably can. So they can purchase access. Did you ever hear the Stepford Wives? Do you think maybe there were some husbands who decided they'd like to have a little better control over their wives' demeanor? That was quite some time ago. But like I said, this has been around for a long time. Why is this being done? If you paid attention to the Georgia Guidestones, if you pay attention to the talking creatures, did you hear me, on the World Economic Forum, you will hear them say, we want to get rid of the humans. Now what you need to know, if you don't already know, is if we were created as our divine creator wanted us created, in his image, we are 12th dimensional beings. These creatures that are running everybody and everything into the ground can never attain that level, because they were not. Now let me put it this way. Maybe at one point they were created by the divine creator, and maybe they chose to alter their creation for power or money or things like that. So think about all this. You have the opportunity to drive your bus, and you also have the opportunity to sit in the back seat of the bus and just look at your phone and text and watch videos and things like that. What's the outcome going to be for you? You decide what seat you want on the bus of your body and your life. There are a lot of people out there sitting in denial. Everything's hunky-dory. Well, all I'm going to ask you, if it's that great, I want you to think back 20 years for what you paid for things at the grocery store. How much did a house cost? How much did a car cost? Okay, I'll take you back even a little further. The first house Dr. Paul and I bought was $10,000. It was a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom, older farmhouse. Boy, we thought we struck it rich when we sold it 4 years later. This was when he was in vet school, and we sold it for, I think, $12,500. I think he bought his new truck when we got right before we got married for $2,000. Well, years later, we're buying a car, and I looked at him and I said, "Do you realize this costs more than the first house we bought?" And so it went through a progression. I think the next house we bought was $45,000. I remember telling my mom, "Wow, I thought $45,000 might buy just a little bit more than this." And honestly, it was an older home, but it had a lot of nice features to it. Okay. Oh, but fast forward a few years later when we moved, and the next house was $78,000. Fast forward a little bit, and the next property was $227,000. Well, those properties now, it doesn't matter which one I'm talking about, would be ridiculous. In the town I live in, the equivalent of the $10,000 house I talked about, and probably just about that age or older, that type of farmhouse construction, oh, right now they're $400,000, $500,000. How much are you spending at the grocery store? So this is what I'm telling you. This is why others would want to control your body. There is a digital twin of all of us in the databases. Somebody sitting there doing Sims like a video game can just scroll through and go, I think this one might want to have a foot injury today. I think I'll make this one fall on its face. Maybe this one needs a heart attack. Did any of you see last Halloween when people spun in a circle and died? How do you think that happened? This is what I'm talking about with this information. So again, I want you to pay heed to what I've said about you have the control over the memory and the intention of the water in your body. 75% of your body, water. 85% of your brain, water. Now, Dr. B had said, whatever your weight is, you should drink half of that number in ounces of water every day. So I'll give you an example. A 150-pound person would drink 75 ounces of water. Water is not coffee. Water is not Cokes. Water is not Gatorade. Water is not tea. Water is water is water. Anytime you drink something with caffeine, you need to drink a cup and a half of water. Now, the other thing that he suggested and recommended was that you use some coarse salt when you drink your glasses of water, and you put a few grains, just a few, like 2 or 3, on your tongue and drink it down with your water. Well, the first swallow is going to taste a little salty, but after that it just tastes like water. Think about this. If somebody goes to the hospital, and I know Dr. Paul in his veterinary practice, an animal came in that was in critical condition, they got hooked up to saline, for crying out loud. So I want you to think about all this information, and I want you to think about how you can take control of things in your life Get off of the couch, turn off the TV, and start learning some things. For starters, you can go to plasmaenergysolution.com. You can pick out the free reports. You can scroll down to the bottom, and you can read books 1, 2, 3, and 4 of Sabrina Dawn and find out more about what I'm talking about with biosensors and biofields and all this weird sounding stuff. Book 5 is a PDF of the technical aspects of what she discusses all the time, and they're right off the internet. So you better be thinking about this, because right now there's a lot of people out there who are sitting in the back seat of the bus, busy watching TV, busy texting, not paying a bit of attention to what's going on around them. It's your chance to drive the bus. I'm going to read this one more time for you. Oh, I put it at the back of this. Here we go. Every molecule and every aspect of water in my body carries the memory and intention of biofield protection. Block, shock, shield, and shunt. So every molecule and aspect of water in my body is now its own biofield protector. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 385, come on, Lynn, 365 plus days a year. Each and every molecule, aspect of water blocks, shocks, shunts, and shields any and all external attempts of radiation, radio frequency, and or all remoted frequencies and energies that attempt to overtake my body and return all incoming radiation, radio frequencies, remoted energies to their source. All right, well, I hope you've learned something with this. I will share a little story with you about intention, because I really talk about it a lot. About 10 years ago, I did a face plant. And no, it wasn't winter. That even made it worse. Be that as it may, I fell and cracked this tooth. It was on a weekend. Couldn't get a hold of the dentist, so I just wore a mouth guard until I could get into the office on Monday. Well, what I was told is that that tooth will have to be extracted, and you can get a titanium implant that'll hold in a new tooth. Or the tooth can be extracted and will crown the teeth on either side and put the new tooth in between them and anchor them together that way. So he bonded the cracked tooth, and so I would have it somewhat stable until I could get to the oral surgeon. I really didn't like the choices. So when I went in sometime later for a routine cleaning, he's going, "You did not go to the oral surgeon?" And I said, "No, I didn't. I really didn't like the choices." See, in my way of thinking, I'd had that tooth for a long time, and I kind of wanted to hang on to it. And in my way of thinking, if I broke my wrist, they wouldn't cut off my hand. They'd fix the wrist. So that kind of thinking isn't taught in dental school, I'm sure. So anyway, I asked him if he would just permanently bond it to the teeth on either side. And he very grudgingly did so. And he said, "Well, all I can tell you is someday you're going to bite into a peach and the whole tooth is going to fall out." Well, I could feel the back of the tooth, and it was solid. So I knew the crack wasn't all the way through. So I just said, "Well, let's just see what happens." I still have the tooth. It's still bonded to the neighbors, but above the gum line, there was an exposed part of the tooth from the injury. Well, one day when I was in for a routine visit, a younger dentist in the office was looking at it, and he's going, "I've never seen this happen." The gum had healed over that area that had been injured. That was my intention. I wanted to keep that tooth. So our intentions can be very strong, and it's up to each one of us to make sure we know what those intentions are, and to make sure those are our intentions and not somebody's programmed intentions for us. All right, well, this was going to be a short video, and guess what? It probably isn't. So I encourage you, it's a few more days to take advantage of the August special that we have for you. And if you're going to take advantage of that, I suggest you look at one of the videos I have on the channel, and it's also on my homepage. What's the secret special that's only told about in the video? It gives you a chance to double up on savings. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. And by the way, I am going to put up a PDF on the website in the next couple of weeks on the notes and screenshots I took from Dr. B's water cure information, and that will be available as a PDF under our free reports. So thanks again. I hope you have a great day, and I hope that those people that surround you in your life that you say you love, that you look them in the eye and tell them you love them and mean it. Dr. Paul and I got to do that for 54 years. And at the end of 54 years, we could still look each other in the eye, say I love you, and mean it. All right. Have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. And thanks again. It's plasmaenergysolution.com.